The recipe box tumbled from my hands, scattering index cards across the polished hardwood of Mom's home office. I knelt to gather them, mumbling apologies while Mom waved me off with a distracted smile. "Don't worry about it, Madison. Just find Grandma's apple cake recipe. I need it for the engagement brunch Sunday." I nodded, fishing through the scattered cards while Mom rifled through the desk drawer. Aubrey's engagement brunch. Another celebration for my little sister, the golden child whose path through life had been paved with parental adoration and financial support. Check that file cabinet too, would you? Mom gestured toward the oak cabinet beside the bookshelf. I might have put it there. The top drawer slid open with a familiar metallic groan. Inside, manila folders stood in neat rows, labeled in Mom's precise handwriting. I thumbed through them, scanning for recipes among taxes, insurance, and utilities. My fingers froze on a tab marked Aubrey's wedding. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. The contract sat on top, thick cream paper with gold embossing from Willowbrook Gardens, the most expensive venue in 3 counties. Black ink and elegant script outlined services, dates, and my heart stopped. At the bottom, $59,000. Below that, my signature, my forged signature. The paper trembled in my hands as I stared at the perfect forgery. The loop of the M, the way the N connected to the following letter. Someone had studied my handwriting carefully. "Find anything?" Mom called from across the room. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Flipping through the folder, I found more documents. Catering, $14,500. Flowers, $8,200. Photography, $6,800, each with my signature at the bottom. Madison? Mom's voice sounded distant through the roaring in my ears. "What is this?" My voice came out as a whisper, paper quivering between my fingers. The click of heels on hardwood announced Aubrey's arrival before she appeared in the doorway, resplendent in her designer blouse and perfectly tailored pants. "Mom, did you find?" She stopped, eyes darting between my face and the papers in my hand. Recognition dawned, followed by something else. Not guilt, not shame, annoyance. "You weren't supposed to see those yet," she said, crossing her arms. "My signature is on this." I held up the venue contract, my hand shaking so badly the paper rattled. $59,000 with my signature. Mom moved between us, her face flushed. "Madison, let me explain. You forged my signature on a $60,000 contract?" The volume of my voice surprised even me. "Are you out of your minds?" Aubrey rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes, and leaned against the doorframe. "Don't be so dramatic. You were going to pay for it anyway." The room spun. 2 weeks earlier, we'd sat around the dining table, champagne glasses raised to Aubrey and her fiancé, Bradley. Mom had looked at me meaningfully over dessert. "We'll need to discuss the wedding expenses soon," she'd said. "With your sister being the first to marry, we want to make it special." I'd been clear, crystal clear. "I can contribute $5,000. That's all I can afford right now." The look that passed between Mom, Dad, and Aubrey should have warned me. That dismissive glance that said my input wasn't really required, just my checkbook. "Madison," Mom said now, her voice shifting into the soothing tone she used when manipulating situations to her advantage. "Your sister deserves her dream wedding. You're doing so well at your job, and you don't have the expenses Aubrey has. I'm an interior designer making $47,000 a year in an expensive city." The folder slapped against my thigh as I gestured wildly. "I have rent, car payments, student loans. Family helps family." Dad's voice boomed from the hallway before he appeared behind Aubrey, his imposing frame filling the doorway. "Your mother told me you found the paperwork." "Paperwork?" I laughed, the sound sharp and brittle. "You mean evidence of identity theft? Fraud? Because that's what this island—" Dad's face darkened. "Don't be selfish, Madison. We've always known you'd help with your sister's wedding. You're being dramatic over a signature." I looked between them, Mom with her tearful manipulation, Dad with his stern disapproval, Aubrey with her entitled expectation. The truth hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't new. This was just the latest, most brazen example of a lifetime pattern. When I needed braces, the money had mysteriously vanished into Aubrey's dance competitions. When I got my scholarship to design school, they'd used my first-year textbook money for Aubrey's spring break trip. Every bonus I'd ever received had somehow found its way into family expenses that primarily benefited my sister. I never agreed to this, I said, my voice steadying as rage replaced shock. I won't pay for it. Madison Elizabeth Murphy. Mom's voice hardened, tears vanishing like they'd never existed. Your sister has been planning this wedding her entire life. We've already put deposits down. With what? My credit card? A cold dread spread through me as their exchanged glance confirmed my suspicion. Just until your bonus comes through next month, Dad said, as if this made it reasonable. I looked at my family, these people I'd spent my life trying to please, and felt something inside me harden into resolve. Watch me not pay for your wedding, I said before going out. The next morning, at my apartment, the folder's contents spread across my kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene: catering contracts, floral arrangements, photography packages. Each document bears my signature, each one a perfect forgery. The wedding is in 3 weeks, and according to these papers, I'm on the hook for nearly $90,000. I take another sip of coffee, then I call my bank to freeze my cards and accounts due to fraud. I still contemplate whether to call the police. 10 minutes later, I get the confirmation mail, and the representative explains everything in accordance with my requests. Now my apartment feels too small, the walls closing in with each new revelation. I've been up all night examining every document, placing each in chronological order. The earliest dates back 6 months long before Aubrey's engagement announcement. They planned this, all of it. My phone buzzes again. Mom's 5th call today. I silence it and continue sorting. The doorbell rings, startling me. Through the peephole, I see Elizabeth's concerned face. I open the door. You look terrible, she says, stepping inside without invitation. Elizabeth Martin has been my best friend since college design classes. Now she's a corporate attorney who takes no prisoners. Have you slept at all? No. My voice sounds hollow even to my own ears. Look at this. Elizabeth drops her purse on my counter and approaches the table. Her eyes widen as she scans the documents, fingers tracing the forged signatures. Madison, this is identity theft. Plain and simple. Her attorney voice emerges precise and certain. You need to file a police report immediately. They're my family. They're criminals. She picks up the venue contract. This signature, your mother did this? I nod, throat tight. And they used your credit card for deposits? She taps the highlighted charges I discovered after combing through my statements. Almost 20,000 so far. The number makes me dizzy. My entire emergency fund. Gone. Elizabeth pulls out her phone. I have a friend at the Financial Crimes Division. We need to... My phone rings again. Aubrey this time. I decline the call, but a text immediately follows. You're ruining everything. Mom's crying. Dad's furious. How could you do this to me? A bitter laugh escapes me. How could I do this to her? Elizabeth reads the text over my shoulder and her expression hardens. Classic Darvo deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Don't let them flip this on you. My phone chimes with another text from Aubrey. Bradley's parents are asking questions about the venue payment. Just pay it, and we'll figure it out later. Please, Maddie. It's my special day. Block them, Elizabeth suggests, at least temporarily. I can't just... You can. She places her hand on mine. Madison, they committed fraud. Multiple felonies. They're counting on you caving because that's what you always do. The truth of her words stings. My entire life has been shaped around accommodating my family's demands. Christmas bonuses diverted to Aubrey's spring break trips. Tax refunds borrowed for family emergencies that somehow always benefited my sister. The pattern stretches back to childhood. We went to work together. At work that day, Thomas from accounting approached me. Madison, there's a woman here making a scene in reception. Says she's your mother, and it's an emergency. My stomach drops. Tell her I'm unavailable. She's pretty insistent. Patricia asked me to check if you want security involved. Patricia, my boss, witnessing this disaster. Perfect. I'll handle it, I say, ending the call. To Elizabeth, Mom's at my office. You stay here. I'll go talk to your mother. No. Strength fills my voice. I need to do this myself. 30 minutes later, I walk into the office lobby to find Mom pacing, her designer purse clutched tight against her chest. When she spots me, her face transforms from anxiety to relief to well-practiced concern. Madison, Thank goodness. Why aren't you answering your phone? We've been worried sick. I keep my voice low, professional. What are you doing at my workplace? The bakery called. The payment didn't go through. She steps closer, whispering urgently. Your card was declined for the final deposit. She's there at Island, the real emergency, not my well-being, but the wedding expenses. That's because I reported a fraud. I meet her eyes directly, my identity stolen. Her face drains of color. You can't be serious. This is your sister's wedding. A wedding I never agreed to pay for. Madison Elizabeth. Her voice drops to that dangerous maternal tone that once made me tremble. You will not embarrass this family. Your father and I have supported you through everything. Supported me? The laugh that escapes surprises us both. When? When you used my first scholarship disbursement for Aubrey's dance camp? Or when you convinced me to co-sign Dad's car loan that you never made payments on? People in the lobby are staring now. Patricia appears from the elevator, her expression concerned but calculating. Everything all right, Madison? My boss's question offers an escape route. No. Clarity floods through me like sunlight. I need to take the rest of the day. Family emergency. Patricia nods. Take tomorrow too if needed. That proposal can wait until Monday. Mom follows me outside, her heels clicking frantically to keep pace. Madison, be reasonable. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Everything's arranged. I stop at my car, keys gripped so tightly they dig into my palm. Then I suggest you start making other payment arrangements. What will we tell Aubrey? What will we tell the guests? The truth might be refreshing. I unlock my car. That you committed fraud and got caught. Her face crumples. We're your family. Family helps family. Family doesn't steal from family. I slide into the driver's seat. I've frozen my credit, canceled all my accounts, filed reports with the credit bureaus. If you try to open anything else in my name, I'll press charge, and this is your last warning. The satisfaction of closing my car door on her protests feels like the first full breath I've taken in years. That night, my phone rings again. Grandmother's number. I almost don't answer, suspecting another family ambush, but something pushes me to accept. Madison. Her voice sounds older than her 82 years. Tell me what's happening. The real story. So I do. When I finish, the silence stretches so long I wonder if the call dropped. Then she speaks, her voice trembling with rage I've never heard before. They forged your signature? Yes. On legal documents? Yes. Another long silence. Then, I'm going to face them. We need to talk for real as a family. For the first time in days, hope flickers. I'm not alone in this fight after all. 2 days later, my phone buzzed against the office desk for the 17th time that morning. I watched the screen light up with Aunt Carol's name and let it ring until voicemail claimed it. The message would be like all the others. Disappointment, shock, family duty. How could I do this to poor Aubrey? I pressed my palms against my eyes until colors bloomed in the darkness. 3 days since I'd discovered the forged contracts. 3 days of constant calls, texts, and voicemails. Madison Elizabeth. The recording of my mother's voice played from my phone's speaker. Your silence is breaking your sister's heart. After everything we've done for you. I jabbed the delete button and tossed the phone away. Everything they'd done for me? Like using my college textbook money for Aubrey's spring break trip? Or borrowing my first work bonus for her car down payment? My laptop chimed with an email notification. Probably another relative drafted into the guilt campaign. I almost ignored it until I saw the sender. Holloway Design Associates. My interview with them last month seemed like it had happened in another lifetime. Before the wedding drama? Before I discovered my family's betrayal. I clicked it open, pulse quickening. Dear Miss Murphy, we are pleased to offer you the position of Senior Designer at Holloway Design Associates. My breath caught. Senior Designer. In Boston. Double my current salary, plus relocation assistance. A way out. The office door swung open, startling me. Elizabeth stood there, brown hair pulled back in a messy bun, holding 2 coffee cups and a folder tucked under her arm. Your building super let me in. She crossed to the kitchen counter, setting everything down. You weren't answering your phone. Been busy dodging family calls. I joined her, taking the coffee she offered. Thanks for this, and for legal advice on Monday. Any more unauthorized charges? Elizabeth pulled papers from the folder, spreading them across my counter. Nothing new. I froze my credit card, my accounts, then opened new ones and changed all my passwords. I sipped the coffee, the warmth steadying me. But Aubrey showed up at the office yesterday, crying in the lobby. Patricia had to ask her to leave. Crocodile tears. Elizabeth muttered, sorting through the papers. We need to document everything. Start a timeline of when you said no, when they forged your signature, each unauthorized charge. I glanced at my laptop, the job offer still open on the screen. I just got offered a job in Boston, senior designer at Holloway. Elizabeth's head snapped up. The Holloway? The firm you've been obsessing over since design school? Double my salary, and 3 states away from my family. Madison. Elizabeth gripped my shoulders, eyes intense. This is perfect. You have to take it. I know. The certainty in my voice surprised me. My phone buzzed again. Dad this time. I silenced it without answering. You're going to dinner on Sunday? Elizabeth asked, returning to organizing the evidence. I nodded, stomach clenching. Sunday family dinner. Mom made it clear the entire extended family will be there. Remember what we practiced? Elizabeth squeezed my hand. Don't let them talk over you. State the facts, then walk away. I'll try. But we both knew how easily my family steamrolled me. By Friday, I accepted the new position and made a plan to move away from my family. Saturday passed in unanswered calls, just practicing what and how to say, and to keep my boundaries. On Sunday evening, I parked outside my parents' colonial-style home, the same house where I'd found the forged contract 3 days earlier. Cars lined the driveway. Mom hadn't been exaggerating about the full family attendance. I touched the job offer printed in my purse, drawing strength from it. Then I straightened my spine and walked inside. The dining room buzzed with voices that hushed when I appeared. Aunt Carol, Uncle Stephen, my cousins, my grandparents, all eyes turned to me. Mom fluttered over from the kitchen, her smile tight. Madison, you're here. She kissed my cheek as if nothing had happened. Everyone's waiting. Dad nodded curtly from the head of the table. Aubrey sat beside her fiancé, Bradley, her eyes red-rimmed and swollen. Before we eat, Aubrey announced as I took my seat, I want to thank everyone for supporting us through this difficult time. My fork clattered against the plate. This was their strategy, make me the villain before I could speak. My own sister, Aubrey continued, voice breaking perfectly on cue, has decided that my happiness means nothing to her. That's not what happened, I said, keeping my voice steady. Mom raised her hand. Let your sister finish, Madison. Aubrey dabbed her eyes with a napkin. All I wanted was my dream wedding. Now everything's falling apart because Madison won't honor her commitment. What commitment? I looked around the table, meeting each family member's eyes. I never committed to anything. You always knew you'd help with Aubrey's wedding. Dad's voice boomed across the table. Family supports family. I reached into my purse, pulled out the venue contract, and placed it on the table. Is that why someone forged my signature on a $59,000 contract? Because family supports family? Silence fell like a physical weight. They did what? Please repeat. My grandmother's voice cut through the quiet, sharp, but she already knows the story. She winked at me, wanting to see others' reactions. They forged my signature. I slid the contract toward her. On this, and on contracts for catering, flowers, photography, over $90,000 total. Grandmother's hands were steady as she picked up the paper, squinting at the signature. She'd taught me to write, helped me practice my letters as a child. She knew my handwriting better than anyone. This is Madison's signature, she confirmed, looking around the table. Or a very good copy. It was just a formality, Mom said quickly. Madison agreed to help. I offered $5,000, I corrected. Not $90,000 in total, based on all of the contracts. Not my signature on legally binding contracts. Bradley, Aubrey's fiancé, reached for the contract. You forged her signature? You told me Madison was handling the expenses because she wanted to. Aubrey flushed. She was going to anyway. She just needed a push. A push? I laughed, the sound hollow. You committed fraud. You stole my identity. Now you're just being dramatic, Dad said. This is what families do. No, grandmother's voice was firm. Normal families don't forge signatures. They don't steal from their children. She looked at me, her eyes clear and knowing. How long has this been happening, Madison? The question lingered in the air. How long? Since college, since high school, since always. This isn't the first time, I admitted, just the biggest. Uncle Stephen cleared his throat. Diana, Robert, is this true? You forged Madison's signature? Mom's facade cracked. She never would have agreed otherwise. Aubrey deserves a beautiful wedding. At Madison's expense? Grandmother asked. Without her consent? I stood, gathering the contract. I've frozen my credit and canceled my cards. I've documented everything. If any more charges appear in my name, I'll press charges. You wouldn't, Aubrey whispered. I already have the paperwork ready. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, seeing the entitlement that had shaped her entire life. The venue needs final payment next week. Figure it out without me. I walked out despite my mother's calls, despite Aubrey's tears. Back at my apartment, I stared at childhood photos spread across my coffee table, birthday parties, where Aubrey got the bigger cake, school events where my parents showed up late, if at all, a lifetime of messages that her dreams mattered more than mine. I'd been conditioned to sacrifice, to believe my purpose was supporting others. No more. As I have already accepted the Boston job offer, that night I researched apartments and signed a lease application for a building near the new office. My authentic signature. I gathered all evidence of the forgery and unauthorized charges into a folder, making copies for my lawyer. 2 weeks. That's how long I had until my new job started. 1 week before Aubrey's wedding. I moved through my apartment, touching familiar objects, mentally cataloging once again what to take and what to leave. Most could stay. This life, the one where I existed to serve my family's needs, that life was over. The wedding dress they expected me to pay for would hang unworn. The venue would remain empty. The caterers would serve no food. Not my problem anymore. Essential clothes, important documents, a few treasured mementos. Everything else was just things, and I was finally choosing myself. On Wednesday, 3 days after the confrontation, my heart hammers against my ribs as I place the last essential item in my suitcase. The framed photo of Grandma Virginia in her garden, the only family memento worth taking. The rest of my apartment stands half empty, closet doors ajar, revealing bare hangers that once held the wardrobe I'd carefully built over years of bargain hunting and sale watching. This is really happening. I whisper to the quiet room. I check my phone one last time before silencing notifications. 17 missed calls, 12 from Mom, 3 from Dad, 2 from Aubrey, 54 text messages. I ignore them all and open my email instead, setting up an automatic reply. I am currently unreachable and unable to respond to communications. Thank you for your understanding. Simple, direct, non-negotiable. I take one final look around my apartment, mentally cataloging what I'm leaving behind. The couch I'd saved 6 months to buy. The dining table found at a vintage store. The bookshelves Dad helped me build before things between us soured completely. The weight of these possessions suddenly feels like chains I'm finally shedding. The moving truck will come for the rest tomorrow after I'm gone. The new apartment in Boston awaits, already paid for with the relocation package from my new employer. All that remains is to drive across the state line, to breathe air untainted by family obligation. My phone buzzes again. Aubrey's face flashes on the screen. I decline the call and power off the device. The morning sun breaks over the horizon as I pull onto the interstate, my Honda packed with only what matters most. Each mile marker represents another step toward freedom, another breath coming easier than the last. When I cross the state line 3 hours later, I pull over at a rest stop and allow myself to cry for the first time since discovering the forged contracts. Not tears of regret, tears of relief. Later that evening, as I check into a roadside motel halfway to Denver, I power on my phone briefly. 39 missed calls. I listen to just one voicemail. From Mom. Madison Elizabeth, where are you? The venue called again about the final payment. Your father and I expected better from you. Family doesn't abandon family. Her voice breaks. Call me back immediately. I delete it and power off the phone again. The next morning brings news from Elizabeth, my best friend and the only person who knows where I'm heading. Mom showed up at my apartment, using the spare key I'd forgotten she had. Finding the place half empty, she'd apparently had a meltdown of epic proportions. She called me screaming. Elizabeth texts, wanted to know if I was harboring you like you're some kind of fugitive. What did you tell her? I reply. That identity theft is a crime and she should worry more about that than where you've gone. I smile for the first time in days. 2 days later, I am already unpacking in my Boston apartment. Elizabeth reported that Dad has moved from pleading to threatening. He's talking about suing you for promised financial support. She writes, your lawyer's cease and desist letters shut that down fast. The tables turn dramatically when my lawyer sends formal documentation to every vendor, detailing the forgery and unauthorized credit card charges. The wedding venue calls my parents demanding immediate payment. Your parents are scrambling. Elizabeth writes, they've taken out a second mortgage to cover some costs. Aubrey is blaming them for messing everything up, not herself for expecting you to foot the bill. Their carefully constructed facade begins to crack under pressure. Grandmother calls to check on me. I always knew Diana favored Aubrey, grandmother finally says, referring to Mom by her first name, something she only does when truly disappointed. But this crosses a line I never thought they'd cross. At the pre-wedding events I'm conspicuously absent from, grandmother later tells me she openly questioned my parents' integrity, causing whispers to spread through the extended family. The perfect family image my parents cultivated for decades begins unraveling thread by thread. On Sunday that week, I finally unpacked the last box and prepared myself for the work tomorrow. The wedding is soon, Elizabeth reminds me during our nightly call. Are you okay? I look around my apartment room, my new life awaiting in front, a senior design position, a spacious apartment, and most importantly, freedom from financial exploitation disguised as family obligation. Yes, I tell her, realizing with surprise that it's true. For the first time in years, I really am. 3 days later, my phone vibrates at 5 a.m., yanking me from sleep. Mom's name flashes on the screen. I let it ring, counting each vibration until voicemail picks up. 3 seconds later, the notification appears. Madison, please call home immediately. Your father had a heart attack last night. We're at Memorial Hospital. He's asking for you. I bolt upright, heart hammering against my ribs. Dad, heart attack. The words echo in my mind as I punch in the number for Memorial Hospital. Patient information, please. I request when the operator answers. No patients admitted under Robert Murphy in the last 24 hours, she confirms after checking. The relief washes over me, quickly replaced by a cold, hard fury. Another lie, another manipulation. My phone buzzes again. Aubrey. Madison, please. The venue is threatening to cancel everything. They need the final payment by noon. Just pay it, and we can work everything out later. I promise. I set the phone down and open my laptop. The emails I've prepared sit in drafts, waiting for this moment. Each one meticulously crafted, attachments organized and labeled. The sun rises as I shower and dress in my new apartment, 1,500 miles from the chaos about to unfold. I brew coffee in the kitchen that still smells of fresh paint and possibility. My hand doesn't shake as I press send on the first email, addressed to every family member in our extended circle. Subject: why I won't be attending Aubrey's wedding. Attached: forged documents, PDF. Lawyer statement, PDF. Credit card fraud, PDF. I take a sip of coffee and press play on my phone. Texts flood in immediately, but I ignore them, imagining the scene unfolding back home. The venue would be calling my parents right now. The final payment of $22,000 was due yesterday. We cannot proceed without it. Vendors would be reaching similar dead ends. The wedding planner would be frantically trying to hold things together. My second email goes out at 8 o'clock, this one containing only a link to a video I recorded before leaving town. I watch it once more before sending. To my family, I begin, face calm, voice steady. By now you've seen the evidence of what was done in my name. My signature forged on contracts totaling over $90,000. My credit card used without permission for deposits. My explicit refusal to fund this wedding ignored. I pause in the video, letting the weight of those words sink in. This isn't about money. It's about respect. For 28 years, I've been the family safety net. When I needed braces, the money went to Aubrey's dance lessons. When I needed textbooks for college, the money went to Aubrey's spring break. Every bonus, every raise, every extra dollar I've earned has somehow found its way back to supporting my sister's wants while my needs were dismissed. My phone begins to ring constantly. I silence it and watch a flock of birds soar past my new living room window. Grandmother calls at 9:30. The only call I answer. They're in complete meltdown, she says without preamble. The venue canceled. The caterers packed up and left. Aubrey is hysterical, and your parents are trying to explain to Bradley's family why there's suddenly no wedding. Are you okay? I ask. I'm marvelous, she replies, and I hear the smile in her voice. I've watched them take advantage of you for years. When your mother finally admitted what they'd done with your signature, I told them they deserved everything coming to them. Thank you, I whisper. Bradley's parents are furious, not with you, with Aubrey and your parents. His father is a bank executive. He knows exactly what forging signatures means. I hadn't anticipated that bonus. The wedding's officially postponed. Grandmother continues. Bradley took Aubrey aside after your video played on someone's phone. Whatever he said left her in tears. He drove away 20 minutes ago. My email notification chimes. From people I hadn't expected: cousins, aunts, uncles, messages of support flooding in. I never saw how they treated you. What they did was criminal. I'm sorry I never noticed. The last email comes at noon from Bradley himself. Madison, I had no idea what they were doing to you. The wedding is off, possibly permanently. I need to reconsider whether this is a family I want to join. I respect your courage and wish I'd known you better. I step onto my balcony, breathing air that doesn't feel heavy with expectation. My phone buzzes with another text from Aubrey. You've ruined everything. My life is over. 10 minutes later, another message from her arrives. Did you have to show everyone? Couldn't you have just said no privately? I watch the cursor blink as I consider my response. Another hour passes before her final message of the day. Bradley says he can't trust me now. Says if I'd lie about this, what else would I lie about? Mom and Dad won't stop fighting. Everyone's blaming me. For the first time in my life, consequences have found my sister. The realization brings no joy, just a quiet certainty that I've done the right thing. My phone rings again. Mom, Madison, please. We need to talk about this like a family. We can talk, I reply, surprising myself with the steadiness in my voice. But only with a family therapist present. The silence stretches so long I wonder if she's hung up. All right, she finally says, her voice small. If that's what it takes. I end the call and watch the sunset paint my new city in shades of possibility. No matter what happens next, today I've rewritten the rules of my life. Today, I finally chose myself. The morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting golden light across my drafting table. 3 months in Boston, and my office already feels more like home than anywhere I've lived before. 2 design awards perch on my bookshelf, tangible proof that walking away was the right choice. I trace my fingers across the blueprint for the Harrison project, satisfaction warming my chest. My team trusts my vision without question. A stark contrast to the constant second-guessing I endured from family. Madison, the Wilsons are here for their consultation. Natalie, my assistant, pokes her head in. And this came for you. She places a cream envelope on my desk with a knowing smile. A wedding invitation. My colleague David's upcoming celebration next month. I open it, admiring the tasteful letterpress design. The memory of Aubrey's gaudy invitation with its gold foil and rhinestones makes me chuckle. Something funny? Natalie asks. Just thinking about how different things can be when people respect boundaries. Later that evening, I selected a mid-range serving platter from David's registry. Beautiful, thoughtful, and within my means. No credit card debt, no financial anxiety, just the simple pleasure of celebrating someone's happiness without sacrificing my own well-being. The notification from my calendar reminds me of my therapy appointment tomorrow. Dr. Wallace has helped me understand the family patterns that kept me trapped for years. The words, financial exploitation and emotional manipulation, no longer make my throat tighten with denial. My phone buzzes with a text from Jake. Still on for dinner Friday? I smile, typing back. Absolutely. Your turn to pick the restaurant. 3 dates in, and he hasn't once made me feel guilty for my boundaries or success. When I mentioned needing to save for retirement, he didn't roll his eyes or call me selfish. He asked about my financial goals with genuine interest. The knock at my door announces Grandma Virginia's arrival. She refused my offer to fly here, so she came by train actually. Waste of money? She'd said with her characteristic directness. This place suits you, she declares, surveying my apartment with approving eyes. Her gaze lingers on the wall of framed accomplishments. My degree, licenses, and awards displayed without apology. Over dinner at my small but elegant dining table, she reaches for my hand. I'm proud of you, Madison. What you did took courage. I still feel guilty sometimes, I admit, like I abandoned them. They left you no choice. Her voice holds steady conviction. Robert and Diana made their bed. And Aubrey. She shakes her head. That girl needed consequences years ago. After dinner, I show her the community center where I lead monthly workshops for people with financially exploitative families. 12 participants last session, each with stories echoing my own. Siblings expecting bailouts, parents forging signatures, relatives assuming access to hard-earned savings. Your pain has purpose now. Grandma observes as we drive home. You're helping others escape what took you years to recognize. My phone rings the next morning. Mom's name on the screen makes my stomach clench. I nearly decline the call but pause, breathing through the moment of panic. Hello. I answer, my voice calm. Madison. Her tone sounds different, less entitled, more uncertain. I've been thinking about what you said in our last call. I wait, giving her space to continue. Would you, she hesitates, would you consider talking with us? With a family therapist present, like you suggested? The old Madison would have capitulated immediately, desperate for approval. The new Madison considers carefully. Yes, I finally answer. I'd be willing to do that. The silence stretches between us, filled with unspoken history and cautious possibility. Thank you, she whispers, and for the first time in years, her gratitude sounds genuine. That evening, I stood on my balcony watching sunset colors paint the Denver skyline. My phone vibrates with a text from Aubrey. I understand now. I'm sorry. I stare at the words, feeling neither triumph nor bitterness, just quiet acknowledgement of how far we've all traveled from that moment in Mom's office with scattered recipe cards and forged contracts. I take a deep breath of cool evening air and type, "Thank you for saying that.